What's up? What's up? Thank you for checking in tonight. We are going to get into Drake. Drake has gone full blown Karen. I can't even begin to explain the levels of caring. Is that even a word? That Drake has gone through. So, we're going to talk about his petition against Universal Music Group and Spotify. We're also going to get into, sorry, my phone is tripping. We're also going to get into his beef that we're just kind of finding out about with Houston Rockets player Dillon Brooks. Spoiler alert, it is over a woman, naturally. And we're going to get into a couple of other things. But let's get started first off with this petition that Drake has against UMG and Spotify. So it's not an actual lawsuit yet, but basically in the filings, he is alleging that, they used bots and influencers to blow up, not like us. And what he wants them to do is open up the books so he can see exactly where the money went. Therefore, he can prove this and potentially go on for a lawsuit. And they bounced back with, well, if you believe that, you should sue Kendrick, not us. We have nothing to do with this. You're looking in the wrong place. So we're going to see what develops with that. But the big thing that most people are highlighting is that Drake had a $400 million deal with Universal Music Group. He was the golden boy, the leader. Imagine what they were generating from Drake if they can pay him 400 million. And that deal was almost up. And perhaps that's why, excuse me, we've been getting all these lackluster albums as of late so that he can hurry up and get the deal over. I said last year on my show on KBLA that Drake really needed to take a break, and now we know why he wasn't. And yes, I'm going to run that clip because I was right. At any rate, so he wants this petition to happen. I mean, obviously, to me, what that also says is, Drake, you've been the king for all of this time. So does that mean that your books were cooked too? Were you the most heavily streamed artist because there were bots out there doing the work for you? Now, let's be real. Music industry and payola go hand in hand. It's been like that for a long time. Now, it's taken various forms. It's, of course, illegal, but in some form or fashion, there is some type of pay to play happening. You think about the list on Spotify, things of that nature. So, does he have a point? Yes. Was this the time to bring that suit? Absolutely not. He dropped the suit, a couple of days after Kendrick's surprise release of GNX. And we're going to get into that because, that debuted at #1 on Billboard. I think 7 singles took up spots on Billboard for this album. It is a cultural phenomenon, no matter what Drake thinks. And it's funny because, of course, he was willing to play when he thought he was winning. I mean, he mentions in the suit that he has corporate sponsorships and business partners that are impacted by some of the words that were on Kendrick's songs. But did he not call Kendrick a woman, Peter? Did he not also mention something about maybe Kendrick's child wasn't his? I think he did. And listen, I'm not saying this as a Drake hater or choosing sides, but if I got to choose, I'm going to choose the West because, West Side, what are my fingers doing? West Side all day, LA, baby. But I like Drake. I'm not, I don't like everything like I mentioned. As of late, there have been no memorable hits, really. It's just been kind of lackluster. Everybody was panning him with that Tootsie Slide BS. So I think that Drake kind of has to look at himself in this. And really, this is not the way to go. This is not hip hop. And this kind of exacerbates the point about that Kendrick was making, that Drake is basically a poser in the culture. Now, we obviously accepted him in, made him feel warm and fuzzy, but something is amiss if you think that this is the way to go when we're talking about diss tracks and things that happen with that. Now, Drake's new deal was supposedly going to be worth around 600 million or upwards of that number. And allegedly, Universal was kind of pulling back and not wanting to give him that money for his new deal. So this is sort of the environment that we are basing, that he is basing his petition to look at the books, right? And the thing is this, if this petition moves forward and he can sort of uncover the money and find the money, what does it then do for the music industry, at least for the time being? We're going to see. But his actions, what he did, I mean, he really needs to calm down. Everybody, and I mean everybody, I feel, was on They Not Like Us. It's almost a California anthem at this point. LA specifically, South LA, Compton, whatever. But I think that he was crashing out. And, it's interesting, Kanye might say a lot of things, but is he lying? Right? So there's an interview Kanye did last year, and I have the footage. I'm going to pull it up right now, if I can find it, where he was talking about Drake and Lucien's relationship. And, what he had to say.
Baby daddy is like Drake has a rich baby daddy named Lucien and Universal.
Wow.
He's like, like, man, my daddy got it. You know what I'm saying? It's like, my daddy controlled the spins. My daddy got the DSPs. My daddy. Drake has a rich baby daddy named Lucien.
So look, that is what Ye said last year in an interview with Justin LaBoy. And like I said, Kanye may say a lot of stuff that is out of pocket, out of line, but is he a liar? He called it, right? He talked about Drake making moves behind the scenes because he had the backing of Lucien. And now he may not have that anymore. And he's also drawing light to the things that might happen with his own career. So I just think overall it's a bad move. And, it's already out of the bottle now, so to speak, kind of like Pandora's box. So we'll have to see what happens. Now, in a statement, UMG said, no amount of contrived and absurd legal arguments in this pre-action submission can mask the fact that fans choose the music that they want to hear. And I mean, I think it's obvious. Everybody was chanting They Not Like Us. Everybody was putting it out there in some form or fashion. Even with this new album, it's taken over. I don't know if you guys have seen the Inglewood High basketball team, but girls basketball team, they were turning up the singles from the album. Damon Wayans Jr. and his two daughters, they were turning up the singles. Let me show you a little bit. And this is from
Baby daddy is like,
let me not this video. This is like from the new album. So it's not even like it was just happening with the old thing. 7 positions in the current chart. That's big. That means that people are paying attention. People are interested. People want to see, something from them. So this is the video from Damon. Let me know what the Let's go. Turning up to it. That's one. The girls, Inglewood High School girls basketball team, they were turning up to TVs off. That's the song that goes Mustard, which we're going to be hearing forever. But I assume Drake didn't want to hear Kendrick do Not Like Us at the Super Bowl. But you know what that means now, right? He absolutely has to perform They Not Like Us at the Super Bowl. I mean, take your pick. He didn't even include it on this album. But I also think there's certain things, and maybe he didn't include it on the album because he had an idea that this was coming down the pike. But it also was a single that he kind of took the brakes off of it. So like you can play that song on YouTube and not get a mark. At least you could when it initially was released. It was a cultural phenomenon, and Drake needs to just take the L, but he's devious, we know. And speaking of that, let's get into this first. So listen, Drake, we know he has things with women that he talks about in his music, and we know he's petty. A lot of the things that are connected to this beef, not specifically with Kendrick, but with some of the other people involved, allegedly have things to do with him trying to go after someone's baby's mom or things of that nature. Well, Drake has actually been beefing with a basketball player, and he has been an NBA player, excuse me, not just a basketball player. He's been talking about it in his music. So, Houston Rockets player Dillon Brooks, he was with the Memphis Grizzlies, and I think he spent some time with the Toronto Raptors, which is where this beef initiated. Dillon is an agitator as well. They were messing with the same girl. She's an Instagram baddie. Her name is Baby M. Beautiful, but a scammer. And not allegedly, she was arrested and served jail time for some type of fraud. It involved credit cards in Oklahoma. And Drake allegedly paid her restitution, which was $675,000, bought her a G-Wagon, and did all of these things. Oh, but while Drake was doing this, he even went as far as, and this is according to DJ Academics and some others. There's some photo and video evidence that you can match up from Instagram and timelines. This is a young lady that Drake has shown on his Instagram. But what happened allegedly was while she was dealing with Drake and Drake was paying for her lawyer fees, he even got, well, this is true because he talked about it on a podcast with Lil Yachty. He dressed up in prosthetics. He got a Hollywood special effects person to put on makeup to make him look like an old man so that he could go to court and support this young lady as she was being convicted of some type of fraud. And like I said, $675,000 was her restitution. Drake paid that. So he dropped a couple of M's on this young lady. So come to think of it, when we were talking about Bernice Burgos the other day and questioning if she could make $30,000 in a night, she used to date Drake. He probably would have done that. Those are the type of things that he does. At any rate, the lady was messing with Dillon, allegedly, and Drake. And so Drake started dropping subs to Dillon in his songs, crashing out, naming him, saying things. On one album, I think it is on the For All the Dogs album, he went as far as, I guess it was a conversation that he secretly recorded of Baby M. And he played it as an interlude on the album, and she talks about it. She talks about the fact that when he flew her out, he didn't fly her first class. He had her in coach. He said that there was no first class available, and she was very upset because when she got on the plane, there was tons of first class seats, and she had to walk to the back. And she said that, I guess they were in Jamaica. She said all they had every day was jerk chicken and oxtails, but the oxtails were fire. I'm serious. It's an interlude. And she talks about Dillon. And she also mentions that Dillon went through her phone. So maybe he got sick seeing the messages from Drake. And so Drake was big dogging Dillon. And there's a few songs where it's mentioned and he was dropping millions on this young lady. I'm not sure if they're still together now, but that is what his situation was with Dillon Brooks. So, Drake crashes out all of the time in these type of fashions. Meanwhile, we know Kendrick has gone to number one yet again. And 7 of the songs on the album are in the top 10. And he surpassed the predictions for the album. Initially, they thought he would do about 250,000. He ended up selling, I think, 356,000, somewhere in that area. And I think the physical copies was somewhere like 10,000. The streams were like 250,000 by themselves. And there were some other numbers in there. So clearly, far and away, people are feeling this album, maybe just on the West Coast, because I have seen a lot of East Coast bias related to this. And I feel like, why are you hating? But Drake needs to fall back. He needs to chill out. One of his Degrassi co-stars came out and talked about a situation when Drake was on Degrassi and that he threatened to or did file a lawsuit against production because he didn't want to come back to Degrassi with Jim. This is when he was starting his rap career, in a wheelchair. And he wanted them to change that up on the show or he was going to sue them and leaving or something like that. Let me see what they specifically said because I got my notes. There was a letter from a law firm in Toronto and it was from Aubrey. It was an odd letter that said Aubrey Graham will not return to Degrassi season 6 as Jimmy Brooks unless his injury is healed and he's out of the wheelchair. And he came in and was like, what letter? I don't know about that. And so basically, he said, all my friends in the rap game are going to say I'm soft because I'm in a wheelchair. And, I think that this was one of the producers that was talking about it on a podcast. Last name is Hurst. So, I mean, Drake is not above suing. Clearly, this is part of his MO. So things get tricky. We'll have to see. Also, if you're crashing out and suing your label, I think there's only 2 or 3 real labels at this point. Everything is somehow, some way underneath them, even though you're independent. What does that mean comes next for you as far as an artist? We know Drake stands, are going to be there and they're going to support. But I think a break is long overdue for Drake. Maybe the music will come back. Maybe he should take some time and dip back into acting. I don't know. But he needs to leave this alone. I feel like he's searching for his place right now and identity. The little bobos and bobbles, I'm not feeling it. The music has been There's been some stuff in there, but there's been a lot of, this is absolutely forgettable. And Kendrick is just coming with the heat. Now, Lil Wayne did, speak out about the Super Bowl and said his feelings were hurt. He also asked why people are coming for him as far as Kendrick. I'm going to be honest. The line wasn't that bad. He's just saying, now someone I idolized is upset with me because I'm taking steps and running towards the goal that they set out. And, it's a rap lyric. Supposedly, allegedly, Wayne tried to reach out to Kendrick and Kendrick didn't pick up. So Wayne is doing what Drake should have done when he lost this battle, and maybe not towards this battle, is get in the booth, bitch. Why are you tripping? So we'll see what Wayne comes out with. I still stand by Kendrick is a much more dynamic performer at this stage in both of their careers. I think he's going to give an amazing Super Bowl performance. I saw him early on in his career when he was touring with Kanye for the, was it the Heartless album? I can't remember, but it was a few years back, about 12 years back, maybe longer. He's a great performer and it's going to be theatrical. He's creative and you're going to get those West Coast beats. That's what I know. So thank you for locking in. If you have any commentary, hit me up, leave it in the comments. I was looking for y'all to join the chat. Not today, maybe next time. But thanks for tapping in. And again, if you have any comments, hit me up. If you haven't subscribed, hit that subscribe button.